Sound of key turning in lock didn't bring mansion to life. On contrary, silence seemed even heavier when William pushed door open. Soft ray of light escaped from lamp lit in living room, illuminating furniture too polished, cushions too aligned, as if place had been prepared for catalog and not for reunion between father and daughter. Air smelled of fresh wax and artificial flowers, cold order not fitting with image he'd kept during 2 months of travel, laughter running through hallway, hurried footsteps downstairs, small warm embrace with which she used to receive him. On leather sofa, William left suitcase and with almost ritual care, package brought from Paris. Paper gleamed under light, keeping doll Judy had requested months before. Had rehearsed scene several times on plane, daughter running toward him with gleaming eyes, gift unwrapping amid laughter. But in that moment, doll seemed strange, object out of place amid uncomfortable silence. "Judy," called with voice lower than intended. There was no response. Only heard slight metallic, dry clinking of pots coming from kitchen. William ran hand through hair and breathed deeply. Was exhausted, body marked by nights in hotels and endless meetings, but exhaustion was pierced by sweet anxiety. Seeing daughter again, feeling warm skin of hands against his. Followed through hallway, noting contrast between impeccable house and emptiness extending in it. There was no smell of cake or scattered toys, no childish sound usually filling walls. Suddenly, silence was broken by sharp, cutting scream not asking but imposing. William stopped, heart racing in chest. Recognized voice. Sara, second wife, woman who before him always showed herself sweet, patient, almost jealous with Judy. But that sound had something he'd never heard before. Raw, ruthless rage. He ran. "What city are you watching this video from and what time is it? By the way, if you're enjoying my videos, I'd be so happy if you could subscribe to my channel and like this video. If this story has hooked you so far, subscribe to channel. What comes next is even more intense and you won't want to miss it." Upon pushing kitchen door, scene hit him like punch. Judy was on floor, on knees, surrounded by food scraps and crumpled papers, hair falling over face while covering head with trembling hands. Small shoulders shook and broken crying sounded like sobs of someone begging for air. Beside her, overturned trash bucket left trail of peels and greasy remains. Sara still held plastic edge of container, breathing accelerated and gaze cold. "Insolent," muttered with fury seeming larger than kitchen itself. William remained paralyzed at door, unable to move for few seconds. This wasn't daughter he remembered. Cheerful, full of energy, always ready to hug him. Was hunched child, dirty, skin marked by grime and tremors of fear. Chest closed and air choked in throat. Tried to speak, but only whisper came out. "Judy." Child lifted face for instant. Red, tearful eyes sought him without recognizing. Was as if presence didn't bring immediate relief, but only more confusion. William took 2 quick steps and knelt beside her. When pulled toward chest, felt fragile, rigid body, as if even embrace were forbidden territory. Sour smell, mix of tears and food scraps, rose from clothes to nose. William closed eyes fighting against nausea, not from dirt but from pain. This was daughter and was begging protection from someone should never fear. Sara, realizing, dropped bucket and in matter of seconds changed expression. "William, I..." began with voice suddenly trembling, almost tearful. "Just wanted to teach her. She's stubborn, doesn't listen to me. Was afraid she'd grow up without limits." But he barely heard her. Gaze was fixed on child's hand desperately clinging to shirt fabric. Between childish fingers, purple stains surrounded wrist like mark of violent pressure. Sound of Judy's sobs resonated on cold tiles, filling each corner of kitchen, while mansion, so impeccable, so silent, finally revealed what hid. Not home, but stage of fear. William hugged her tighter, feeling weight of guilt descending like stone. Paris gift, gleaming in room, now seemed insult. Didn't need to imagine. Reality was before him. 7-year-old daughter silently asking for something he'd let slip away by being absent. In hallway, clock marked time with metallic ticks. For William, each sound was reminder happy past he remembered no longer existed. Child in arms was no longer same, and world he believed intact crumbled with each second he held her. Dawn was long. William couldn't sleep. House so large and silent, seemed to murmur accusations in each corner. Sound of wind hitting windows mixed with echo of sobs still could hear, even after Judy had fallen asleep. From time to time stood from armchair and carefully opened her room door. There was daughter curled under blanket, fists closed and body tense even while sleeping. Not even in 7-year-old's dreams was there peace. In morning, decided routine had to change. Wouldn't allow daughter to spend another day alone with Sara. Dressed quickly, and announced would take Judy to school. Silence following at breakfast table was dense. Sara smiled too hard and served glass of milk before child. Judy discreetly pushed glass away like someone retreating from invisible trap. William noticed gesture. Wife's sweet smile contrasted with daughter's eyes, avoiding looking at glass as if contained poison. In car, tension continued. Judy sat in back seat, holding backpack as if were shield. Sun entered through windows, but face remained somber, with deep dark circles betraying nights of bad sleep. William at wheel sought word breaking that wall. Daughter began without knowing how to finish. Rearview mirror showed small face avoiding his. "Everything's fine, Dad," she whispered with almost faded voice, but tone didn't convey conviction. Was more defense than truth. Upon arriving at school, Judy got out quickly without looking back. William remained still few seconds, watching fragile silhouette cross door. Was something strange in each step, too heavy for child. Felt knot in stomach. That same day, knot became blow. In afternoon, while William signed reports at company office, mobile vibrated. Was unknown number. Answered, and voice on other side sounded firm but loaded with concern. "Mr. Wallace, I'm NL, Judy's teacher. Need to speak with you urgently." William straightened in chair. "Has something happened? Is she okay?" "Physically, yes, but today during recess, I saw her trying food from trash." Was pause, as if teacher sought right words. Seemed hungry. Some classmates laughed at her and called her beggar. She didn't react, just kept moldy bread in pocket and ran away. William pressed mobile against ear, body rigid. Image pierced mind like knife. Daughter, heiress to one of country's largest fortunes, disputing food scraps in schoolyard. "Are you sure?" Voice sounded weak. "Saw with my own eyes," teacher sighed. "Wasn't first time I noticed signs of exhaustion and hunger." "Mr. Wallace, your daughter needs help." When hung up, hands trembled. Paper before him, $1 million contracts, had become useless. Blur of numbers, meaning nothing before urgency gnawing at chest. Stood so fast chair tipped backward. Couldn't think, only ran toward car. Heart pounded hard. Mind repeated scene like torture. Judy, small, kneeling before trash bucket while cruel laughter resonated around. At night, back in mansion, William observed daughter from distance. Was sitting on bed's edge hugging old doll, feet swinging without touching floor. When saw father at door, smiled slightly, fragile, broken smile seeming more like apology. He approached and sat beside. Tried to ask, but Judy looked away. "I'm fine, Dad." Phrase came out automatically, as if rehearsed. And once again, William felt she hid enormous secret, bigger than any answer. Weight became unbearable. Safe world believed had given daughter no longer existed. Was open crack and from it emerged something dark and urgent. That night, alone in office, looked at Paris' gift still unopened on table. Paper gleamed like cruel irony. Daughter didn't need dolls, needed protection, and perhaps for first time had to choose between maintaining intact comfortable life he'd built or facing dark truth inside own house. Closed eyes and pressed fist against mouth to stifle scream. There was no turning back. "And you, what would you do in his place? Have you ever lived something leaving you like that, without ground under feet? Tell in comments. Really want to know how this part of story affects you." House seemed to breathe differently that night. Tick-tock of clock, before just background noise, now pounded like hammer in William's head. Went down to kitchen in silence, guided by hunch couldn't explain. Upon turning on light, scene paralyzed him. Judy was on tiptoes trying to reach low shelf of refrigerator. In hands hid piece of dry bread, almost stone, hastily putting inside coat, turned around seeing father, and for instant gazes crossed. Was instinctive fear in that look, as if caught committing crime. William took step forward, but she moved first, backing away and pressing bread against chest. Was gesture of someone fearing to lose last resource, "Daughter," voice failed. "Why hiding food?" There was no response, only accumulated tears, stubborn before falling. Judy ran to room and closed door with slam. William remained there, alone before open refrigerator, white light illuminating forgotten bread on lower shelf, cold air from appliance-wrapped face, and with it came stinging sensation of failure. Successful executive, owner of million-dollar contracts, incapable of guaranteeing basic to daughter, safety of not having to beg for food inside own house. Next morning, while Sara arranged flowers in living room vase, William watched in silence. Wife showed same rehearsed sweetness, soft smile hiding more than revealing. He no longer trusted gestures. Each movement seemed studied, each word calculated to cover something. Was then when Thomas Butler approached discreetly. Gray-haired man, faithful to family for over 20 years, but with heavy eyes of someone keeping secrets. "Sir, forgive me if I overstep, but need to speak." Voice was almost whisper, fearful of being heard. "For months I've seen Judy being punished in ways can no longer ignore. Many times forced to go to bed without dinner, others to clean entire house like maid." William remained motionless. Words hit like stones. "Why never said anything, Thomas?" "Because she threatened me," responded lowering gaze. If had spoken, would have lost job, and feared Judy would suffer even more. William's heart shrank. Each new revelation was like another brick piled on chest, felt buried alive by guilt. In office days later, another crack opened. Private detective he'd hired discreetly sent message with photo. William almost dropped mobile seeing screen. Sara sitting in elegant cafe writing on phone. In amplified detail of image, read phrase sent to someone. "He's weakening. Plan is working." Shiver ran down spine. Wasn't just momentary cruelty. There was something bigger, calculated. But what and why? Office walls closed around. Through window, city continued at rhythm. Cars, lights, relentless movement. But inside William, everything stopped. Suspicion-owned wife was part of trap against daughter, corroded each fiber of body. That same week, Judy returned from school with scraped knees and clothes stained with dirt. When asked, only muttered had fallen in yard. But William noticed look when hiding old doll against chest. Was something more in that fall. Perhaps teasing. Perhaps childhood violence. Worlds seemed to conspire against that child. At night, upon entering daughter's room stealthily, found open notebook on desk. Childish letters, crooked and trembling, formed phrases breaking heart. "Miss Mom, scared of stepmother. Want to hug Dad, but if I speak, she throws me out." William closed eyes, hand trembling over paper. Was silent scream hidden in only space left to daughter, pages of improvised diary. In that instant knew no longer place for inertia. Each silent second increased abyss between them. Each disguised gesture of Sara was threat, and each unspoken word of Judy was cry for help. Weight was unbearable. That night, William knelt before daughter's sleeping bed. Room was plunged in dimness, illuminated only by street light filtering through curtains. Extended hand, brushing wet bangs from forehead, and whispered almost like prayer. "Won't let anyone else hurt you, even if have to destroy everything around me." On other side of door, heard discreet footsteps in hallway. Perhaps Sara, perhaps another shadow. William held breath, realizing already lived in enemy territory. Own house, once symbol of success, had become battlefield. Night fell dense over mansion. Wind shook windows, but inside house was another type of storm. Invisible, contained, ready to explode. William climbed stairs in silence, carrying in hand small diary he'd found. Pages were wet with childish tears. Phrases scribbled hastily from fear of being discovered. "I'm hungry. I'm scared. If I tell Dad, she'll throw me out." Each word was stab. Heartbeat unevenly. Breathing labored and fingers squeezed notebook until almost breaking. Stopped before daughter's room. Door was ajar and sound of sob escaped through it. Thin. Painful. Pushed slowly. Scene paralyzed him at threshold. Judy was on floor, on knees, disheveled hair covering part of face and shoulders trembling. Before her, Sara stood like shadow. Arm still raised, betrayed interrupted gesture. Hand just fallen on child. "I can't anymore," Judy sobbed, hands raised to protect. "I'm sorry, Mom, won't do it again, please." Time dilated. Sound of Judy's breathing filled room mixed with Sara's poisoned silence. William felt entire body shudder. "Enough!" Voice exploded hoarse, tearing air. Sara turned, surprised. Lowered arm but eyes maintained same icy gleam, quickly disguised by mask of innocence. "William, don't understand. Just trying to educate her." "Educate?" Crossed room in 2 steps, grabbing Judy against chest. Felt daughter's heart racing, tears wetting shirt. Throwing trash at child. Leaving her hungry, raising hand to her. "That's what you call education?" Sara staggered backward. Voice, before firm, now wavered but without losing venom. "That child only knows how to hate me." "Does it to separate us? Don't you see? She manipulates you, William." Word resonated. Manipulates. Same term appearing in notes, intercepted messages, confirmation he needed. Silence that followed was suffocating. Only sound of Judy's sobs filled room. William stood slowly, holding daughter in arms, and pointed to door with firmness, leaving no room for retreat. "Out. Now." Sara tried to hold gaze, but mask broke. Eyes burned with rage and for instant seemed about to advance. Instead, turned, grabbed purse on bed and left slamming door. Sound reverberated on walls like thunder. William remained there, motionless, gasping. Chest rose and fell in rapid waves, but inside him something had broken, and something new had been born. Image of daughter kneeling on floor would be eternal wound, but also spark of promise never breaking. Pressed Judy against him. Child still trembled, murmuring confused phrases. "Dad, don't leave me. Don't ever leave me again." Voice sounded deep, solemn. "Nobody will touch you again." Room plunged into silence. Outside, footsteps resonated in hallway. William raised eyes and saw figure leaning against wall, half hidden by shadow. Lucas, brother. Smile was small, almost invisible, but enough to freeze William's blood. "Think you've won?" Murmured in low voice only for them to hear. "That child will destroy you like already destroyed Sara." Phrase fell like venom. Wasn't just Sara. There was another enemy inside own family. Blood enemy. William's heart raced, holding Judy tighter. Felt nothing would ever be same again. Perfect House's mask had broken. Now was war. If this twist moved you as much as me, hit like button right now. Shows you're also feeling every detail of this story. Silence following confrontation was almost unbearable. William still felt heart hammering in chest, entire body in state of alert, as if each muscle refused to relax. But when realized, Judy was already limp in arms, exhausted from crying so much. Sobs had become short size, and small fingers still clung to shirt fabric, as if were only anchor in world. Carried her to bed gently, deposited on mattress, pulled blanket to neck and remained there kneeling beside, observing irregular breathing. Each time chest rose and fell, remembered moment finding her on floor, begging forgiveness from stepmother. Image was like open wound pulsing in mind. Room walls were dark, illuminated only by moonlight filtering through curtains. On desk, still open diary seemed to watch William, as if words written in childish handwriting screamed louder than any voice. Stood, approached notebook and passed fingers over pages with reverent care, as if touching sacred relic. Discreet creak broke moment. From hallway, footsteps resonated slowly and stopped at door. William didn't need to look to know. Lucas was still there. Brother's shadow, with that poisonous smile, remained like threat not dissipating. William didn't move, but raised eyes toward illuminated crack and said in low voice, almost whisper, like someone talking to self but ensuring to be heard. "If you touch her again, I swear won't answer for consequences." Silence. No response, only sound of footsteps walking away slowly, as if Lucas wanted to mark presence even in retreat. Later, already in House's library, William sank into leather armchair. Turned on only one lamp, leaving rest of room plunged in dimness. In hand held Judy's old doll, one always with her since small. Fabric was worn, doll's hair tangled, but was evident how much still represented protection for daughter. Turned slowly between fingers, feeling symbolic weight of that object, piece of childhood resisting present's cruelty. Clock marked 2 a.m. William had no sleep, felt empty but at same time burning inside. Was strange how pain and fury could coexist with such intensity. House seemed motionless, but knew nothing would ever be same again. Artificial order, built by Sara, had broken and hidden ghosts, now roamed hallways without disguise. In morning, Judy descended stairs slowly, had face swollen from crying and sunken eyes, walked barefoot hugging old doll. William was sitting at table waiting for her. Aroma of freshly made coffee filled room, but there was also something rarer in that house. Total absence of Sara. When Judy sat, he moved closer plate with toast, fruit, and glass of milk. For instant, she hesitated, looking at glass as if were enemy. William noticed but didn't insist, only said in low voice, "Only if you want." She blinked slowly, and after silence seeming infinite, took piece of bread. Said nothing but ate little by little, like someone testing whether could still trust. Was minimal gesture but for William meant everything. Crack, thread of reconnection. Breathed deeply, eyes tearful, and spoke more to self than to her. Going to learn to be here. Not just to arrive, but to be. Judy raised gaze quickly, distrustful, but didn't immediately look away. Remained like that few seconds, father and daughter, maintaining contact seeming impossible until night before. Small but real, rest of day passed in silence. There were no screams, no masks, only strange, heavy calm denoting more absence than peace. William knew this was just surface of something much bigger, but for a moment accepted that respite. Before going up to room, passed once more by daughter's desk. Closed diary and kept in drawer. Not as way to hide, but like someone promising to protect what's written. Simple gesture had weight of silent pact. In hallway stopped before window. Morning advanced outside, but inside him everything remained night. World kept going forward, but he was no longer same man. Executive, provider, man thinking controlling contracts was enough. Had died in instant, saw daughter kneeling begging forgiveness. If this part has truly moved you, you can support our channel with super thanks. That makes difference. And if you're not yet subscribed, this is moment. Your presence is what gives us strength to keep bringing stories like this. Time passed and mansion was no longer same. Artificial flowers disappeared from tables, replaced by childish drawings stuck on walls. Silence that before was suffocating now filled with simple sounds. Tap of pencil on paper, clinking of cutlery at shared meals, calm breathing of child falling asleep without fear. William also remained different. Impeccable suit still part of workdays. But there was something in gaze no longer fitting contracts and meetings. Sometimes during dawn found himself sitting in daughter's room simply watching her sleep. And wasn't surveillance, was presence. Was men learning not to be absent. Judy, for her part, began to bloom slowly. Still were scars, startles during dreams, hesitation before accepting glass of milk, need to hug old doll in any new situation. But little by little, small gestures became signs of trust. First spontaneous smile, first run toward father's arms, first drawing where wrote, "My home," above two figures holding hands. There was before and after and wasn't possible to go back. William knew would never forgive himself for not having seen before, for having believed in appearances costing daughter tears, but also understood something new. Wasn't about fixing past but caring for present, offering everyday silent proof nobody else would abandon her. That was invisible transformation installed in him, was no longer just man providing but man holding in lap, kneeling before child to listen to what she didn't dare say aloud. And here is where I want to speak directly to you who reached end of this story. Perhaps you felt invisible at some moment. Perhaps carried heavy silence, kind hurting more than harsh words. Or who knows, perhaps saw someone needing help and didn't know how to act. Truth is, we don't always manage to save at right moment. Sometimes life distracts, distances from what matters, and when realized there are already open wounds. But what I've learned telling this story and what resonates inside me is still exists possibility. Not to erase, but to care. Not to return, but to start anew. And I want you to apply this to your life. Sometimes all someone needs is place where can simply exist without fear. Can be word, hug, sincere listening, small gestures seeming trivial, but can make difference between suffocating silence and opportunity to breathe again. Perhaps you know someone carrying marks not showing. Perhaps that someone is you. And I want you to know you're not alone. Not all new beginnings have to be loud. Some just have to be honest. William still looks back and feels guilt pressing. Judy still has nights when dreams of screams. But both learned darkness isn't eternal when there's someone willing to stay with you in room until dawn. And perhaps that's what this story wants to leave you. Certainty, even in most shattered places, still can make light. If you've reached here, it's because this story reached some part of your heart. Thank you for not giving up halfway, for listening until end. Means more than you imagine. If you're not yet subscribed, this is moment. And if already are, consider supporting with super thanks. This gesture gives us strength to keep bringing stories as intense and human as this. And remember, each video isn't just about distant characters, also about you, about me, about all of us who at some moment need to believe again we're not alone. Thank you for watching until end. And if this story marked you, I invite you to continue with me. Next video already waiting for you, and perhaps we'll find you exactly where you need to be found.